Hello, everyone,
Hello.
and welcome back to Grace-Filled Families for this week. This week, we are talking about listening.
Listening. What's that?
Yeah, good one. But we want to equip you to hear more from your kids
Yeah.
and to learn how to truly listen to them, and also give a few little tips about ways to do that so that you can have a better understanding of your kids and also have a really strong family bond. So stick around and we'll go through it together.
Okay, welcome to our listening blog. We're glad you're here to listen to what we have to say today.
Good one.
Good one. But Bernard Baruch, who was a successful politician in America through the world wars, says the most successful people I've known are the ones who do more listening than talking. Listening is such an important skill. It's a crucial skill, not just for you to listen to your kids, but to listen to your spouse, to listen to people at work, to listen to people. You're actually better to listen than to speak, aren't you?
You are.
Yeah.
Yes. And there is some actual research about the importance of listening,
Yeah.
and particularly listening to your kids. And the first reason that it's really crucial is it actually helps to build trust.
Yeah.
When the children feel heard, they feel that they can trust you, and they know that they are safe, don't they?
Absolutely.
It's a real healthy ingredient for a strong relationship with your kids.
Absolutely. Listening to your kids helps them with emotional development. When kids are listened to, they're able to articulate their feelings, they're able to articulate their issues and talk through them and grow and develop better in their emotional understanding.
Yeah, another one is it actually builds problem solving skills in our kids, because when they feel that their concerns and their thoughts are respected and are heard, they are then able to think more critically about ways to solve the problem, because you, in your discussions, can guide them and help them through that, but they are more willing to do that. And so they're actually learning problem solving skills through that.
Absolutely. You can boost a child's self-esteem through listening. You imagine if you're constantly shut off by somebody.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to talk, you're trying to share something, and they constantly shut you down. Your self-esteem is going to plummet. But if your kids know that you're there to listen, why? Because you care about what they have to say, then that'll actually boost their self-worth and who they are as humans.
Yeah, and in Graceful Families, we often talk about that as parents. It's our job to grow them from being little people to big people, and part of that is teaching life skills. And communication skills is actually a really important life skill, both in the personal realm and also in professional lives as well. And so, listening to your kids and listening to actually what they have to say and what they say has value, it really develops communication skills in our kids. And they actually can learn how to listen as well, which is super important, and it will help them in their lives. Yeah.
Listening to your kids in order so that you can respond authentically also helps to connect your family values into your children as well. And so you communicate your family values through listening, and by listening, you know how they're practicing out their values. And by listening and talking through your values, it helps to guide our kids to safe and productive decision making as well in their lives.
So as you can see, listening to our kids is really valuable, but how do we actually do that? And the Bible actually tells us, gives us lots of different tips. But in James 1:19, let me read it for you. It says, "Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." As parents, it's really important for us to be that, to be quick to listen to our kids and to hold our tongue. It's so easy to jump in, isn't it? And to give our advice or to get angry when they tell you something. But firstly and foremost, be quick to listen. The Lord put it in the Bible for a reason, because He knows that's going to help us thrive.
Absolutely. And so what we've done is we've compiled a bunch of ideas and ways that you can listen to your children, because it's not always through speaking, okay? It can be through other things. So we're just going to race through a bunch of ideas. Don't feel like you need to glean them all, but maybe there's a couple that you want to try this week.
Yeah.
So the first one is to simply find quality time to spend with your child. And a lot of these will be about quality time. But if you don't have time to listen, then you're not going to be able to.
Yeah. So make time to listen to them. And in that, to ask open-ended questions. It's really easy to say, "Oh, did you have a good day today?" They very quickly can answer
Yes or
yes.
no. Yeah.
But if you change the way you frame that question, how was your day today? It gives more opportunity for them to answer in a more thorough way,
Absolutely.
just than single word answers. So yeah, open-ended questions really help.
And active listening, because
Mm,
like if they're making an answer, so you say tell us how your day
mm,
went today, and they start telling you a story, and they're like, huh, sorry, I missed that. Active listening is so important to
mm,
engage. Parents
yeah.
who are busy, we can't always do that, but that's important. But also to give your kids time to answer. I remember at uni, I learned a kid needs at least 3 seconds in order to formulate an answer. You think about when you're asked a question, you actually need time. So it's
Mm,
okay to embrace some silence and some awkwardness while you wait for an answer to
yeah.
come in and not to try to rush a conversation.
Yeah. Also, to validate their thoughts and their feelings with empathy.
Yeah, first up.
It's really easy. Well, I find I'm sometimes not very good at being quick
Me
to
either.
listen and
Yeah.
slow to speak. But they're saying how they feel. Validate those feelings before you come up with a solution or before you engage more in that conversation. Validate them.
Their problem may not seem like a really big problem to you.
Yeah.
Um, a lid's not fitting on a toothpaste
Mm,
tube.
yeah.
Like that's not a huge problem to me. But to little Seth, when he's upset and he can't do it, and he's losing his nana over it, that right then is actually a time for me to give him some empathy,
Mm,
and work through that with him as
yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
yeah, empathy is so important. Yeah,
Yeah. Another thing to do is to make special trips or special dates with individual children or as all together. But individual helps a lot, doesn't it? So you actually
absolutely.
have that time to talk. I remember recently one of our kids was like, "Mum, I'm so excited to be at the shop with you right now." We were literally buying like bread and milk, but he was so excited because he got that time just with me, and so it's
Yeah.
important.
Another way to listen, which isn't like speaking, is to pay attention to what your kids are drawing,
Mm,
or
mm,
what stories they might be writing. Now, you might want to know something particular, and so you might give them a prompt for a drawing or for a story, or it could just be that you're having a look at what they're drawing and what stories they're giving you,
mm,
and what is that telling you about how they are? Are their stories always about kids who are frightened? Does that mean maybe there's something scaring them? But are their drawings always positive and exciting? That usually means they're having a good time.
mm.
Another one, just thinking off the top of my head, is singing.
Yeah.
Right? They say that a kid who's singing is safe and healthy. So if you're hearing your kids singing, listening to that tells you that they're doing well.
Yeah. Another thing is to watch their play. And so I was actually recently talking to a friend whose child had gone on a school camp, and on the school camp had done high ropes. And so when they came back from the camp, they said, "Oh, how was the camp?" And they didn't tell them much information. But then the next day did high ropes course on this camp, and then the next day they had built a high ropes course for their teddies. And so just watching how they play can often indicate things that are happening in their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Another good thing, similar to the date thing, is to do an activity.
yeah,
When you're busy, you talk, right? So if
yeah.
you're going for a hike or a bike ride or making something in the shed or digging something in the garden
Or
together,
simply cooking and cutting up food
yeah,
together.
cooking and cutting, like that gives an opportunity for your kids to listen.
Mm,
And if you're clever, they won't know that you're you're trying to listen and get stuff out of them.
yeah. Another thing, I don't know about you, but I have younger children, and by the end of the day, I am spent. By the time I get to bedtime, all I want to do is say a good night, a quick kiss, and off you go, go to sleep. But bedtime is actually a great time
Yeah,
that kids often will open up about things on their day or things that might be worrying them or problems with friends or whatever it is. So if you can, take that time, even if it's a few minutes at bedtime, just to give them that time to tell you, tell you things and open up. And we've also heard too, as teenagers, we don't have teenagers yet, but you work with teenagers.
a lot.
But we have some people in our life that have said that teenagers often open up late at night,
Yeah.
don't they?
So it's about being ready to listen
Yeah,
when your kids are ready to speak.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now that's not always possible. So our eldest was going on about something the other week, and I had to say to him, look, buddy, I have to go out, right? But if you want to talk about this later, I would love to talk about this with you.
Mm.
And he went, nah, I'm all good. I just needed to vent a little bit. So, cool, that's fine. But always be prepared
Yeah.
to listen. And if you can't in that moment, let them know. Be honest with your kids. Don't fake it. And tell them or create a time later on where you can listen.
Yeah. And I guess another major thing is lead by example. So talk to your kids about your day and open up about things that might have happened, obviously age appropriate for your kids, but lead by example of telling them how you feel about things or things that have happened in your day that they might find interesting. So leading by example and teaching them how to be active listeners
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely. And a few tips to parents with teenagers. I work with teenagers a lot, and I've had a lot to do with parents over the years who come to me and they're like, oh no, how do I get my kid to speak to me? I don't know what's going on. And one of the big things teenagers tell me is that my parents don't know what it's like to be a teenager, and they're always trying to get in my stuff, and I just want to be private. And so be aware that teenagers will open up when they want to, but they won't open up under pressure. They want you to know, they want you to empathize with them being a teenager and through the hard times they're going through, but they also want you to respect their privacy. And maybe it's that you set up a youth leader or a family friend or something like that to spend some time with your kid, because they won't always talk to you. It takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
Then respecting the privacy, you don't necessarily go to that other person and say, what did they say? Tell me all about it. You don't need to know everything, as long as you know they're being guided by someone with wisdom as well.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, we actually did a blog about the different stages of parenting,
Yeah,
didn't we?
that'd be helpful.
And so yeah, head back to that one. But also we talked about that there's different stages of commander,
Yeah,
coach, and
Counsellor.
consultant, and counselor. And so particularly when you're working with teenagers, they don't always want you to fix their problem, do
Not
they?
at all. Not at all. Teenagers don't usually just want to vent. The best thing you can do as a parent is to just let them know you're there for them, and don't lead with advice. This is something I've learned as a teacher. You don't lead with advice, with guilt or shame, right? You lead with empathy, okay? And be ready to listen on their views and their ideas of what's going on, particularly if there's a problem or something has happened. If you come in there heavy-handed and you're ready to shove on guilt and shame and your advice into something, they will shut down straight away. And so you need to trust that inside of them, they actually have the answer to their problems. They just need you to guide them, but by guiding them, you listen to them. And then if it gets to a space, I find this super helpful to say to a teenager, hey, I've got some things that I want to tell you. Would you like to listen to them? And at that point in time, they can say no, and that's okay. It's a question. Most of the time I find in the classroom or in the yard or dealing with behaviours at work is they'll say, yeah, Mr. Crocker, I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. And you're open to say, well, I'm hearing this, I'm seeing this, and this is where I feel like we need to go or where you need to go to fix up your problem or your mess. So giving them the opportunity to hear advice or not is also really, really helpful. And it empowers your kid to be able to take care of their own problems or issues or lack of understanding as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But there you go. There are some tips. I hope you gleaned something from that about different ways that you might be able to foster your kids talking to you and actively listening to them. But I really hope that this has helped you today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and also to head on over to our website and grab the free Family Insight Guide. But also write in some comments about ways that you've found help your family to open up. Or that you've been able to listen to your kids too, because we love hearing lots of other ideas as well.
And if this video has been helpful for you, I can guarantee it'll be helpful for someone else.
Yeah.
So feel free to share it with one or two other people and let them know what we're doing, because we're just here to bless and to love families in this world.
Yeah, and to equip them.
Yeah.
So have a great week, and we will see you soon.
See you later.
Bye.